At last, they've opened the doors and allowed me and 90 others to enter the large, dimly lit ceremonial hall. Row upon row of mattresses fill the room, which is cool and quiet. I gravitate towards a bed near the window and have a seat. There is a pillow, a blanket, a bucket, and a roll of toilet paper. This will be my home base for the next 7 hours. I stash my handbag and journal, close my eyes, and slowly exhale. A bodybuilder covered in tattoos takes his place on the neighboring mattress. We nod hello. The din begins to quiet as people settle onto their respective mattresses. The shaman steps forward into the center of the hall. He is powerfully handsome and possesses an otherworldly demeanor. He welcomes the group, and I listen intently as he explains the way the evening will unfold. We are asked to come forward and receive a tobacco snuff that we're told will begin to open the third eye. It's called rapé. It disperses into my sinuses like an acid scream. Now it's time to take the plant medicine, and long lines form again and gently advance towards the shaman. He lifts a small glass into the air as an offering before handing it over to me to drink. I take the glass, looking deeply into his eyes, and drink it. It tastes like molasses. 10 minutes pass, then 20. I can hear people beginning to laugh or groan. Someone on the other side of the room is vomiting. I feel nothing. I've been on site for 2 days in classrooms preparing for this moment, but now I wonder if I've come all this way for nothing. Why don't I feel anything? I'm beginning to wonder if maybe I'm not supposed to align with this plant medicine substance when I begin to be aware of a moving vine in my mind's eye. It's definitely a plant, and it's crossing the ceiling of my mind, circling and growing. It's tantalizing and strikingly sophisticated, like the very best graphical art I've ever seen. If I was an art director, this is what I would want to create. I watch as the leaves and branches weave and extend into a vast network of unified wholeness. I am a spectator, watching it all in amazement. And just as I'm beginning to wonder about my role in this vision, I vividly sense the presence of an energy scanning my body. I can sense a buzz. It's like a team of Pac-Man-like beings, surveying and scrutinizing my entire system. It's then that I feel the sensation of a vice grip on either side of my jaw. The pressure is gently acute. Oh my God, I think, they know. Over the past year, the tension in my jaw has become chronic and worrying. I'm seeing both an acupuncturist and a chiropractor once a week, and I feel certain it's the result of the compiled pressures and stress from having made a film, gone through a divorce, and relocated. It's become a distressing distraction, and my secret hope in coming here to Costa Rica is that this condition can be addressed. Can you fix it? I ask. And that's when the yawning started. I yawned and yawned, opening up my bone structure and my lower skull and mandible. We've been told in the preparatory classes that yawning is a tool that plant spirits use for healing, so I turn myself over to it. I am then shown the point of view of these healing, scanning spirit helpers, and can now see their perspective of my oral cavity from within my head. It's an absolutely fascinating vantage point that I've never before considered. And they seem to be saying, just trust, and so I begin to relax and to receive. In the room around me is a cacophony of human sounds. Men and women are crying, retching, laughing, singing. It is an ecosphere of human experience, of memories and dreams and realizations and clarifications. I am amazed and grateful to be here. 3 years later, I came back from Costa Rica to my new home in Atlanta and kind of pushed back the experience, despite how dazzling it was, into a recessed corner in my mind, like the way you would a fantastical dream. It didn't really have an immediate relevance in my life. I was living in a city, in an apartment. I was also preparing for a big job in Alaska. So I kind of relegated my ayahuasca experience sort of over here in the corner of my mind and kind of went on with my life. So I went out to Alaska and I was out there for about 2 weeks, and I came back to a city that was completely shut down. There wasn't a car on the highway. There was nothing happening. And I was freaking out about this scourge that had come onto the landscape. And so it took a while, but I finally turned back to her and the experience I'd had. Luckily, while I was at Rhythmia in Costa Rica, I had taken a video camera with me and a little light, and I had done these vlogs, and I had recorded everything I could remember. There were 4 nights that we did ceremony. Each night was different. Each night was a different shaman, a different theme, a different brew, a different vibe. And I had come back to my room and I had recorded everything I could remember. And now I turned back to that and I started to look at the footage and begin to reabsorb the experience I'd had. I'm so grateful that I told those stories. They were fantastical. I was encountering dragons, I was giving birth to owls, I was meeting dearly departed, I was connecting with archetypes in my family. Ayahuasca gave me a certainty that there was a bigger picture that I could believe in and reference and incorporate into my understanding of myself as a divine creature on earth. And I knew now that I wasn't alone. Now I have been given this insight into an all-encompassing, loving energy that has healed my jaw. And, my throat has always been a place where I have felt constricted, but also powerful. So I've sort of always had this sort of conflicted identity that is here. So this whole zone for me was awakened in ayahuasca, and I've been able to reclaim my voice symbolically because my throat chakra has been reborn.